Hey everybody, Viktor here. Time for a nation guide. This one is for Dai Viet. So let's go ahead and get started. So unlike the rest of my guides, which focus first on the estates and privileges, we need to first focus on these 4 missions. The reason why is these missions are required to be completed, otherwise this disaster will fire. Now this will not end your campaign. But if you read through it real quick, you'll notice, yeah, this is pretty nasty. It will fire after the Age of Discovery ends. So you have about 70 years in order to get this done. However, if you fail, this is what's going to basically happen. This northern state and everything in this area, as well as down here, and then China that you own will go into the North Vietnam, and then everything in this state you own south into Champa, southern Cambodia, and then these states, and then all of this that you own will be broken off into southern Vietnam. And you will get a choice between the two of them. However, you're basically in a North versus South civil war. Yeah, there's a Vietnam War if you want it. But if you don't want to have that happen, you have to finish these 4 missions. And they're pretty annoying. Specifically, you have to have 100% your force limit, and the nobility loyalty has to be 40% or more, and you have to revoke the command the military privilege. This thing is really obnoxious because it increases your influence by 30, but not anything else. It even costs crown land, so you start off with 20% crown land. Next, you have to have crown land to 50%, and their influence has to be below 40, so again, you have to revoke this. And then, at the end of it, you have to have the examination system and an advisor of all 3 types without any deficit. And the examination system is this government reform. So you have to get through a couple of government reforms, have enough of an income to at least hire level 1 advisors for all 3 slots just to get one of these done. And then also 2 of these things are related to your estates and privileges. So we'll move straight from that all into your estates and privileges to talk about this real quick. So as you guys can probably plainly see, this is not a normal estates and privileges game, so I'm actually going to have to go through the full estates and privileges treatment here. First off, the nobility, which is the most obvious of the obvious here, because I only have command of the military assigned. The reason I don't assign anything else in here is because there's nothing else in here that grants more loyalty than influence. And since I need to revoke this as soon as humanly possible, there's no reason to grant anything else because it just makes it more likely I'm not going to be able to get their influence below 40 in time. So just leave it blank. While this might look like it would make the equilibrium point for loyalty more difficult because it's not enough to just summon the Diet to seize land, you will be granting other privileges. They're just not available now. First off, you will eventually get bronze, so you'll be able to issue a monopoly for 10% free loyalty. But on top of that, you will have subjects, allowing you the strong duchies, as well as allowing you the noble integration policy, which will give you more than enough loyalty to keep seizing land, and then eventually you'll be able to revoke these privileges because, well, the subject ones will automatically drop off once you've integrated all of your subjects. And then the monopoly doesn't give any influence, which will allow it to easily revoke it later on. Now, as far as the monastic orders, do not grant the religious diplomats. All this does is it makes people of the same religion like you more, and you are the only tag on the planet that follows the Mahayana religion. Meaning, there's no point to it. Now, early on in the game, you get an event which allows you to flip Confucian with Mahayana as an embraced religion under Confucian. If you want to do that, go for it, and then, to make Ming like you a little bit more, as well as Korea, then you can grant this if you really want. Otherwise, it is completely pointless, and if you're going for the achievement, you have to stay as Mahayana to force it on 10 other nations to get the achievement done. And I'll be talking about an easier way to get that achievement, because you don't go through here. Now, lastly, do take expansion of zealotry, because you're going to be fighting everybody else that are not Confucian and not Mahayanan, so you might as well have the bonus morale. Take Monopoly on Incense, and then the Enforced Unity of Faith, so it'll help you convert the other provinces that you have, namely this one that's the start, which is not Mahayanan, but you're going to be converting a lot in this game. And then as far as the merchant guilds are concerned, that you can pretty much take what you want. Just do not take the monarch points because you cannot afford the crown land going down. But do take tropical city planning because this will help you with your deving, because you will be dev pushing a lot. You just will be. But with that all being covered, we are now done talking about the estates and privileges. Just be sure you save up as much crown land as you can, because it can be very annoying trying to get it high enough. But with that, let's go ahead and move on. Setting up your military is pretty quick and easy. First off, take your army, assign the general you start off with, because they're a decent general. Next, you have a choice. Either you can hire 5 infantry normally, just right here, or you can delete your cavalry and hire the free company. The reason why you're not just hiring the free company is because you'll go way over force limit and you'll be paying a lot more for having both. So if you're going to hire the free company, or if you just hate cavalry, go ahead and delete the cavalry. You'll be fine. I personally prefer the cavalry, so I'll be hiring 5 infantry, because I can always hire the free company later. Now, as far as your navy is concerned, just go ahead and merge them together and mothball them. You're not going to be using them anytime soon. With that, your military is set up. As far as your starting rivals, just rival back who rivals you, which will always, in all 40 of my test runs, it was the same guys, Ayutthaya, Champa, and Khmer. Just rival them back. You have the option of rivaling Lanzhang. Do not do it. The reason why is usually they do not rival Ayutthaya, which means if you rival them, they are more likely to ally Ayutthaya in defense against you, and you do not want that. So instead, just leave them alone. You'll come after them in a second. Instead, you're going to send a diplomat over to start spying on them. Again, they're your first target. As far as your starting diplomacy, this Muang Fuan guy here, you're going to ally him day 1. As soon as that's done, just unpause it, and then you're going to find your next ally. It doesn't matter if they're big or not, just somebody over here. Looks like Meng Mao is going to be perfect. Wait another day, this guy, and then I believe I have one more. Yes, I do. And Kale, you'll be fine. And with that, my diplomats are all assigned. Or sorry, I have all my allies. So I just now need to wait until I have a claim on Lanzhang. Now this guy, on the other hand, I'm not quite done with. You see, he'll be willing to accept you vassalizing him as long as you can get your opinion with him up high enough and royal marry him and everything else. So get that royal marriage as quickly as you can, get that opinion as high as you can, as quickly as you can, because the moment you have him as a vassal, you also complete this mission, which will give you a subjugation claim on Lanzhang. Do not take it. I will explain why, but for now, I need to pause the game, because I need to wait for this claim, and I need to get them as a vassal. So I will bring you guys back once that is done. See you then. Sorry, I forgot to say it before, so I'll say it now. Come in here and turn off your army maintenance, so you're stockpiling money, so at least you have a somewhat of a war chest, and you're not constantly going in debt while you're waiting for your spy network to be done. But with that, I'll see you guys in a second. And welcome back, everybody. So I now have this Muang Fuan here as a vassal, meaning I now have the ability to get a subjugation CB on all of Lanzhang. The problem with doing that is that there's so much development in here, you'll form a coalition against you of pretty much all of this. Every single one in here is going to be in a coalition against you, and there's no way you can possibly win that. On top of which, they're just going to be very disloyal for about 15 years. So instead, you have an alternative. Specifically, you're going to take these 3 provinces. The reason why is each of these provinces has a core of a different person, and each of these vassals that you'll be releasing have cores on the rest of Lanzhang's land, which means you'll be able to take all of that development for very little aggressive expansion, and they'll also be insanely loyal to you because you just conquered their land for them. Now, during the amount of time to get this guy as a vassal, which as you can see took a couple of years, get some claims down on Champa, because you might be able to swing down and take them out quickly after Lanzhang is first taken out in the first war, let alone the second. But also make certain that Lan Na here either is a ally or a tributary or something to Ayutthaya. The reason why is you will eventually get a mission to subjugate them as well. Once you're done taking out of all of Lanzhang, you'll get a subjugation against them. If they are not an ally or a tributary to Ayutthaya, Ayutthaya has a habit of attacking them and just taking them out. Which means you'll have to conquer it, and usually by then, it's a lot more development, meaning you'll take a lot more aggressive expansion because you get reduced aggressive expansion in a forced vassalization, and they are small enough to cause slight coalition, but usually it's just about like this, and you can handle that. So at this point, it's time for me to get my army on the border and actually declare, and I also use some of my time to curry favors with these small guys to make certain they'll come in, making this very, very quick and easy. So this really shouldn't take a whole lot of time. Now, they do have a fort here that you're going to have to siege out to get stuff over here, but it really shouldn't be that difficult, especially if you did either hire the 5 guys or the free company and deleted the cavalry. You should be perfectly fine. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording because I just need to finish this and get those vassals released and keep going from there. So I'll see you guys in just a little bit. And welcome back, everybody. So earlier I said that you have to siege this fort. I am wrong. I just never actually checked before. And as you can see, I'm able to take this, and all I had to do is take their capital and kind of whack around their armies a little bit. Don't decimate them. Leave them with something left. Otherwise, Ayutthaya down here is absolutely going to attack them and take those lands that you're going to be wanting yourself. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and peace out, take these 3 provinces, and release all 3 of them as vassals and just chill for a bit. Now, I do have the ability to go after Champa, but I really don't like doing so early because, to be honest, it's a lot of admin points to end up coring all of it. So I generally want to go after them once I know I'm ahead of time in terms of admin. So they're not really a priority, because if you look at the mission here, the Conquer Champa, which you get from them, you actually have to culture convert them in order to get anything further, so it's not really a rush. So with this, I'm going to go ahead and pause it because I'm going to go ahead and just continue building up cash, and I'll bring you guys back when it's time to talk more about what to actually do next, because you're just going to wait till your truce timer with Lanzhang goes down, conquer the rest of these cores, and integrate Mongfuan as soon as you possibly can. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. Hey guys, so I wanted to give a brief update. So Lanzhang ended up allying Ayutthaya, which obviously is going to be a problem, but they also allied Champa, so I took out Champa and broke their alliance. Also, they'll be at about 115% war score remaining, so I fed them both the Fort province and one other one, so they'll be 100 war score to take out. Now, Khmer is attacking them, but whatever Khmer ends up getting, I'll just punch that out of Khmer, because it's not like they're a big threat. But either way, just let Lanzhang be taken out by whoever is over here. You'll eventually get the cores back. And just keep everybody loyal, integrate this guy when you can, and that's about it. With that, the only thing I want to say, though, is that you do start off in a regency, not a normal monarchy. So keep extending this regency as often as you can until either your regent dies or the heir dies. Because you do not want to have this heir take the throne at all. You want him to just go and die in a field somewhere. Now, that being said, make him into a general, because you can still do that, and hopefully this will accelerate him finding a field. And it'll give you a new heir eventually, because the queen here will just be made into a normal monarch where you don't have to keep clicking this button. Just be sure you're paying attention up here, because it will tell you, and you only have that last year now. So if you're not prepared for it, you'll miss it, and suddenly you have a 112, which you don't want to be dealing with. So I'm going to go ahead and unpause it, because I'm going to let Khmer take all this, and then punch Khmer and get all of it back. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. And welcome back, everybody. So I wanted to show you this in live time. As you can see, I'm about to integrate my last vassal, which means that this is suddenly going to change drastically. This is what you're trying to do with these 2 privileges. The moment it's integrated, these 2 will drop off, and combine the influence here and here is 25 influence, and it's giving me about 10 loyalty. But the thing is that influence, that drops off immediately, meaning this will drop and plummet, whereas this will slowly tick down, allowing you to revoke that. Suddenly, you're going to have no influence and plenty of loyalty, and all I need to do now is just get my crown land up a little bit more, and I'm completed with this one, and then just get my army size up, and suddenly I'm good to go with 2 of these missions. The last one is just being able to afford advisors, which I'll be able to do using plenty of people giving me war reparations. So I'm going to go ahead and finish taking care of Khmer here, because it's mainly for money, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. And welcome back. As you can see, I was able to do the Restore Examinations mission. The reason why is because once you're able to get rid of the control over the military, you can grant the 3 privileges that will reduce the advisor costs, making it so you can actually afford to have advisors and not go into a deficit. So once you're able to actually do so, grant them, get the mission done. It gives you 100 admin power just for free, and a level 3 advisor that is 90% cheaper that you can just throw on there and, well, make up a lot of the Diplo power that you've had to spend actually expanding. Now, moving forward, you're going to try and conquer Khmer, take out what's left of Lanzhang if they're still around, but they usually won't be. And then you're going to be targeting Lan Na. The reason why is if you follow your mission tree, first you have to get the subjugation over Lanzhang. Once you've done subjugating them, you'll get one on Lan Na. And then once you take over this region with Lan Na, or simply conquer it yourself, you'll get a subjugation on Ayutthaya. Once you've gotten that done, they give you claims over the entire Burmese area. Now, that's not the end of what you're doing, because there's an entire other side of the mission tree. But as far as Ayutthaya is concerned, do not subjugate Ayutthaya as a subject until they're the only ones you'll have. The reason why is they're strong enough where if you have anybody else, they're going to be disloyal, period. Unless you're the size of Ming, you really can't control Ayutthaya with many other vassals because they multiply quickly their strength. So just be aware, if you do take Ayutthaya as a subject, try and make them be the only one. Now let's talk about this Defy Ming. The way this mission works is you become independent, so you're no longer their tributary, and you insult them, either scornfully or otherwise. And you'll reduce their mandate by 20 and get a bunch of claims. And while that sounds awesome, it's not quite as awesome as it might sound. You see, Ming is going to start exploding in the Age of Reformation like they always do. And they'll start having rebels pop up everywhere. If you see that they have rebels running around, but they're at about 85 to 90 mandate, try and not to do anything. The reason why is in order for this event to stop, they have to have less than 5 loans, certain other couple other conditions, but mainly it's they have to have over 80 mandate and no rebels, which is really difficult for them to manage because they only get mandate really when they make rebels spawn. So if you can see that they're slowly starting to explode, do not fire this mission. The reason why is while it gives you permanent claims if you do it and they're intact, if UA takes over the south here, instead of you getting claims on the area that UA is in, you simply take over UA. It just becomes your subject. No aggressive expansion, no war, no nothing. It's just yours. They will be moderately disloyal because you didn't exactly conquer anything for them, but you'll be able to simply take them. This is one of the reasons why you need to hold off on Ayutthaya, because if you can get that, this is far more valuable because not only is this really good land, it's also really good land to dev push for institutions. Whereas, while Ayutthaya is nice, it's not really as good. You actually have to fight for it. So if you can get UA and just get UA for free, absolutely do it. Now at this point, the only thing I really need to do is finish these 2 missions, which is seize Crown Land one more time, and build, I think it's another 7 troops. Yeah. And I'll have these 2 missions done. This one, I just need to click the buttons, and that'll be done too. So at this point, you should be capable of continuing on and doing whatever you want. Now, I will say that at the start of the game, there is a chance that Lanzhang and Ayutthaya will ally, and you cannot take that on at the very beginning of the game. So what you do instead is, since both of them will, in that instance, rival Khmer, you push south, take out Champa, and then take out as much of Khmer as possible to make it so they lose rivals. Once that happens, the odds that they will rival each other goes up, because Ayutthaya has to rival somebody, and there's only so many people strong enough that they're nearby they can actually rival, which means they'll usually rival Lanzhang. Lanzhang, on the other hand, can either rival you, or they can rival Ayutthaya, and it's a coin flip. And with any luck, they'll rival each other, break their alliance, make Lanzhang completely open to attack, and you jump them. You just jump them as soon as you possibly can before they get another ally. But with that, you guys should be able to play Dai Viet, get all the way through the missions here, and if you can get down to Imperial Citadel, yeah, you'll get the event and you can change yourself to Vietnam and have a whole lot of fun and thankfully avoid a North-South civil war, which I've actually done isn't terrible, but unless you know and you're planning for it, it's really annoying because you're losing a lot of land that you then have to go reconquer. But if you take the original land you start with and expand like this, there's not a whole lot of land that'll end up going to the south, and you can reconquer the south as the north if you want, which, again, kind of fun. But thank you all for watching. If you guys enjoy this kind of content, like and subscribe. I'll definitely be making more of it. If you want to see a particular country be covered, let me know in a comment below. And yes, I have seen your comments about Epirus. I'm working on it. It is a very frustrating nation to try and make a guide that works even some of the time, let alone most. I'm working on it, I promise. But with all that being said, thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day.